Hello and welcome back to another Walking on Air Wednesday quiz. Today is quiz number 4, but before we get into that, I just want to say that I've just about finished editing the final and summary of the Engine Failure After Takeoff series. This will be episode number 7. It became more complicated than I thought, and hopefully this will be releasing this Saturday, this weekend. Looks very interesting actually. I'm sure you're going to enjoy this one. The full wrap up of the whole series. Sounds like I'm out in the wild this afternoon, but there's just a lot of bird life around. Now today's correct quiz answer comes from Matthew Bates, and he had quite a lot to say actually, which was really good. Thank you, Matthew. Big shout out to you today. He's got a channel that hasn't got any content as far as I could see, but give him a kickstart anyway, and hopefully he'll bring something to us soon to watch on his channel. Now before we go into this too much, let's get into the answers for those questions, mostly about stalls. Today's questions will also be about stalls, and we'll get into that shortly too. So the first question, define a stall. A stall is a condition by which the boundary layer over the top surface from an aerofoil separates from the foil. This results in a significant reduction in lift. That was as Matthew wrote it. I'm reading exactly what he's written, and he's exactly correct. And the second question, when does a stall occur? A stall occurs at high angles of attack, the relative angle between the aerofoil chord line and the oncoming wind. The angle is known as the critical angle and varies based on the aerofoil shape. Now some people say stalls are caused by speed through the air, not enough airspeed over the wing. It's actually the critical angle of attack. What happens is when we slow an aircraft down as we fly through the air, we're actually trying to keep the aircraft airborne by increasing the angle of attack. The critical angle of attack reaches a point where it can no longer sustain lift because the air is breaking away from the aerofoil, causing and becoming a stall. The third and last question, there's a big one. How can a stall be avoided? Now you've probably got many ways of thinking about this, but this is Matthew's answer. I think the simple answer to this is not to reach or exceed the critical angle of attack. However, many GA pilots are killed every year from stalling at low altitudes, and I'm sure all of them knew that that would occur if they exceeded the critical angle. So I think this is a good question for pilots to be prepared. Having that plan established before takeoff and where you're going to go if your engine fails on climb out, somewhere in the circuit, or anywhere in flight. Being prepared for the unexpected at all times so that when the unexpected does occur, our own situational awareness remains vigilant and we don't get low and slow unintentionally. I think this all comes down to practice, remaining current, study, learning from others' experience and failures, and doing so in a manner that we don't become complacent. And he apologises for it being long-winded, but it was a good question and a good answer as well. So just be mindful of your airspeed and your angle of attack. Don't wrench on those controls on the unless the aircraft is designed for that. Alright, so thank you Matthew once again. We will now have a look at this week's questions. 3 questions relating to stalls. Alright, the first question this week. When approaching a stall, what is the effect on pitch control? Now we are dealing with the book that is from the Sports Aviation Federation of Australia's training workbook for microlight weight shift pilot training in Australia. So some of these answers may not be what you've been taught, but the theory, aerodynamics, pretty much the same everywhere we go in the world. So that question again, when approaching a stall, what is the effect on pitch control in a weight shift microlight aircraft? The second one, when approaching a stall, what is the effect on roll control What they're asking is, how do the controls feel? And the third one, how does a microlight, weight shift microlight, flex swing trike microlight, okay, so flex swing, weight shift, how does it recover from a stall? Or how does the pilot recover a weight shift flex swing trike microlight from a stall? Why am I saying all those names? Because in different parts of the world we call them different things. I believe in New Zealand they're called ultralights. In America they're called trikes and microlights, but in England they're called flex swing microlights, because there are also things called 3-axis microlights, which here we call ultralights. I think I've got that right. Hope so. Get your questions down in the comments. You'll get a shout out next week, Wednesday afternoon or somewhere around there. I'll be launching that video. Please don't be hesitant to put your answers forward, and we look forward to seeing what you've got to say. We're all trying to learn from these, and if we are already pilots, then of course we're just doing a refresher, aren't we? And I'm sure there's a lot of things we need to refresh on. Anyway, thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the answers section next week.